Despite a history of oppression in this country, I know our students can be the architects of a just future. But do we know how powerful we are? At UCLA, I'm known for teaching Introduction to Chicana and Chicano Studies. In these courses, I address issues that are sometimes painful, that are politically controversial, like the history of housing struggles, the history of systemic racism.
A lot of the times if people are going into a Black Studies or Chicana Studies class, they don't really know what to expect. It's a fusion of a lot of different disciplines: sociology, race relations, philosophy, and the main theme of those would be connectivity as people.
We all can understand that this is a text that tries to elevate the stories that are not meant to be told, that tries to unsilence the voices that people try to silence all the time.
In the class, I tell these stories about cilantro workers, or I tell them about the Farm Workers' Bill of Rights. And there's so much judgment about people who live in poverty, about the choices they make that brought them into that place. If you don't want to live in a dangerous neighborhood, why don't you move? As if that's actually a choice that people can make. The choices that people often have to make are much more painful. Dinner or breakfast for my child.
We're in Los Angeles. This is home of so many Mexicans and Mexican Americans. By having Chicano Studies classes, I think that really signals something to a lot of our students. If we're talking about equity, if we're talking about divisions of labor, if we're talking about gender, if we're talking about race and class in the United States, those are very relevant conversations to have in the scope of the course material.
My parents, they raised me to value service. And honestly, this is where a lot of my stories also come from. They come from a witness of pain and struggle, but also for a deep compassion that my parents taught me about. My father's sister, her name was Gaye, and I was named after her. She died young. And he wrote this poem for her. At her funeral, he read it, and in it, he was talking about the pain of her being gone. And he said, but it's the love that makes you bend. And I just thought, wow, it's the love that makes you bend. That's true, right? I mean, you could be going through something so hard and you're fine, right? You're just zipped up, and somebody comes to give you a hug. That's when you lose it, right? You lose it because of the love that makes you bend. I do believe from the things that I've witnessed that this world is such a joyful, brilliant place, and we need more of that. I really believe that love will win.